So Craig and I got married. We were going to this church, and there were 3 pastors at this church. And God had told us years and years before it actually happened that at some point, this one particular pastor was going to leave and start a new church, and that we were supposed to go with him. So this was a word from God. I believe it was really God. And but this was way before it was even anything anybody was talking about. So when it finally did happen, and that one pastor decided to leave and start another church, we knew we were supposed to go with him. So it was not a happy split. Unfortunately, a lot of us have been through church splits, and you know that can be very painful. So I'm sad about that. But there were a group of us that went with him to start a new church. And so when we started this new church, now Craig and I, we were part of the initial group, but we were not part of the leadership. There were 2 couples that were kind of the leadership of this church. And so when it all started out, they were saying that they believed in the Bible. They said that they believed in Jesus, the blood of Jesus. I think they did. I'd known the pastor for years and years and years. And but over time, this church lasted for about 6 years. And over time, things really started changing. And it was always a small church that at our height, we had about 50 people. So it was really small, and we were itinerant. We never had our own building. So we traveled around met in different places. And so we didn't have a lot of stability. So what ended up happening was just this shifting. And I don't want to blame it just on this, but the leadership. So these 2 couples were very liberal minded, like politically, and I don't want to talk about politics at all. But so during this time, so this was like from 2010 until 2016. Okay. And so if you can remember back what was happening politically in our country during that time, and remember 2016 is when Mr. T got in office the first time. Okay. So that kind of gives you an idea. So all of this stuff that was happening in our culture, the political wokeness and the, just all the craziness was starting to enter into our culture at that time. And just all the liberal mindsets and the deconstruction of truth, and the gender dysphoria and all that stuff was really starting to hit at that time, and the racial problems and everything. And then Mr. T got in office. Oh my gosh, horrors of horrors, So anyway, so the leadership of the church was just really on board with all that stuff, and Craig and I have always been really conservative. And so we weren't on the same page with that, but we didn't talk about that stuff. We were trying to do church with these people. We love these people. I still love these people. And, but what we had, there was similar to the first group there was a lot of pride involved in all of us. And I'm guilty too. I was right in there with them, because we kind of had this arrogant attitude that we were better than what we had come out of, and it was more deconstruction, where we were trying to kind of deconstruct. We looked down on traditional church. Right. And so we had this very arrogant attitude. And so because of that, we were trying to do things completely differently. And so we never had a lot of structure in the church. And it was a kind of situation where everybody could come up and share. And at first, I think they talked about the Bible, but toward the end, there was no Bible study. There was no Bible. It was just kind of a very emotion-driven services. And I look back on it and I'm like, how in the world did I not notice? But I just didn't see what was happening until it was over. And so God just dissolved that church. He just pulled it apart. I think for the good of everybody. And I think by the end of that, when the church ended, they weren't saying it yet, but I think the leadership was at the point where they didn't believe in Jesus anymore, where they had that woke mentality that all faiths, all religions lead to the same God, and they weren't open about it yet. But today, they are. Today, none of those people identify as Christian. And that's what happens. When you go down that path and you start to deny the blood of Jesus, that's where you end up. And it is really, really tragic. And it breaks my heart. I love these people and I pray for them, but that is what happened in this church. And we did not see it as it was happening. And I don't think we understood the problems that they had with us because of our political views, because we didn't have any problems with them. We don't care what people think politically. We love people, and that was really an issue. And we discovered all that after we were out, after it ended, and oh my goodness, it was just so sad. It was so sad.